athlete and you play golf and you're expected to perform well, on the golf course and in the classroom. But there's, still plenty. We still have a pretty long off season right during the school year. So still got to do the classic college things and spent some good times at the wheel and did all that stuff. So at the end of the day, college is a time where you don't want to look back at it and wish you would have enjoyed it more. I felt like I had a good balance of being able to enjoy it, but also put in the hours and the work to do well in school and on the golf course.
Well, you can tell you have a historically great tavern when both you and I, who are significantly different in age, both had really good times at the wheel. So that's a good thing. I wanted to ask a little bit about fall golf and spring golf. It really seems to be kind of a strange dynamic. I don't even think it's sort of like baseball. I think fall golf is at a much higher competitive level than that. That's almost like just practice. But you really are playing. The real competition is going to come in the spring. Just explain what it's like fall and spring golf.
Yeah, fall is usually when our team played pretty darn well, and then we'd struggle a little bit coming out of the spring, or starting the spring usually. Just because you don't. We ended in Hawaii, and so back to your question of how was it being a collegiate golfer. Well, we got a free trip to Hawaii 3 years, so pretty good. We'd end that.
I guess part of what I was going to say is that there's no NCAA championship in the fall.
Right. It's like a ridiculously long All-Star break. It's a 3-month break, and you got the massive break over Christmas, which is just so long, and it's hard to fill your time. It's 5 weeks now. And so one of my teammates had a place in Arizona. We'd go down there for a little bit, like maybe a week or 5 days or whatever, and maybe plan an event, somewhere south. Maybe did that once or twice, but I don't know. You come off finals, and it's nice to have that first couple weeks of doing nothing. But then by the third or fourth week, you're like, well, I kind of feel like a slob. Like, well, I got to go play golf somewhere or do something. So yeah, that's hard, having that long of a break, and then if you can have a good fall, you can kind of, you can get through those first couple events in the spring. And because the main thing is, it's important you're seeding for college golf, but it's not, as long as you make regionals, and it's just a matter of having a good week. And that was just the way the system works in college golf. And we peaked. We had a great my senior year, at least we played great at the Big 12s, and then we did not play well at regionals. But again, it's just one tournament, and from where we started my freshman year, having just zero shot at making the NCAA tournament, to then the year after I left, the team made the NCAA championship last year, and they played down in Oklahoma. That was really cool to see, just the development of the program, and see them reach the biggest tournament in college golf.
Golf also is an interesting sport from the team standpoint, and the fact that now the NCAA championships end up playing match play, but still generally you're playing stroke play competition in college golf, which somewhat doesn't lend itself maybe as much to the feeling of camaraderie for a team, but still it is a team aspect. Talk about the combination of individual and team when you're playing college golf.
Yeah. It's important to be close with the team. It's really important to have a good, support system, both on the road but also at home. Because at the end of the day, you're with your teammates more than anybody else. And if you have some sort of negative relationships or whatever, that's going to be really tough on the team and just the overall dynamic and really how much you enjoy your college years as a college golfer. And
I mean, if Patrick Reed was on your team.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I don't know if his teammates liked him very much, but our teams were pretty close, and it just makes it so much more fun. You're going on golf trips essentially with some of your best friends, and you're all teeing it up with the same goal of trying to win the tournament for your school. And college golf is a really fun thing. So I would just encourage everybody who's playing college golf now to just really enjoy it, because when you get to play professionally like I am now, you don't have, no one, as our college coach would kind of joke and also was serious, like no one cares when you're playing professional besides you and, maybe your parents. And he was right. So certainly my time at KU was awesome.
As your time is winding down, and you have that big finish, and you guys did, accomplish something very special in a tough Big 12. And when you're in your senior year, or do the thoughts of your future in golf start to, focus more and come together? I'm sure you always had those thoughts, but college is winding down, and now it's going to become a reality that you're going to go forward. First of all, have you always thought that was going to be something that you were absolutely going to give a shot to, was playing professional golf?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was something I always wanted to do. I had a pretty average, I had a pretty poor junior year. At least I thought it was pretty poor. I didn't play very well. I just, and I was, I remember kind of sitting down with a few people. I remember sitting down actually with my college coach at the kind of end of your meeting, and it's just like if I didn't get better, I'm not to say I wasn't going to at least try, but I mean I would not have had much of a chance. Would have just frankly missed a ton of cuts. So, kind of, had a little transformation in my senior year, did some different things, and had a great senior year, and that's kind of when I, knew I was good enough and knew I could give it a go. So yeah, I mean, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, certainly, if you're going to try to play professional golf, because it's certainly not for everybody, and it's certainly hard, and it can be a lonely world if you're out there struggling, because it's an individual sport, and you certainly don't have the support system like you do at a massive university like KU and athletic department like you had there. So yeah, I mean, having a great senior year like I did was huge for what I'm doing now.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. Well, it hailed like crazy, and the last thing you want to do is deal with another roofer. So don't. When they show up, tell them you know a guy. An Easton Roofing sign in your yard lets everybody know you want it done right, and it's the best storm chaser repellent you can get. Call us today for a free, no-obligation inspection, 913-257-5426 or eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
We're here at the 23rd Street Brewery with Matt Llewellyn. And Matt, you've got a great menu. You fine-tuned it a little bit. Great beers. There's always something to be had to put a smile on your face at the 23rd Street Brewery.
Oh, you bet. And Brian Haney would always say, come have the Haney turkey stack. Bill Self would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. I would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. It's great. Great mac and cheese, buffalo mac and cheese. And we've got a ton of other menu items that you're sure to love. We've got a great brewer who's brewing great beer. And if you like craft beer, our guy's the way to go. And we're making great drinks, too. There's a great new distillery in the state of Kansas called Llewellyn Distillery. My brother's doing that. He makes some great whiskey and vodka and rum, and we're doing all kinds of great drinks with those beverages.
Always fun to be had at the 23rd Street Brewery, 23rd and Castle. Come on by anytime and have a good time.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
How did you map out your plans to start your professional career? This year you're going to be trying some web.com, but you played last year on the Latino American Tour from the PGA Tour and did pretty darn well. You finished 28th on the Order of Merit or money list, whichever they call it on that. That's not going to make you rich, certainly, but it's going to give you status. So as you were leaving KU, what was the process of trying to get some kind of status somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for, playing professional golf is you got to have the, talent to do it, but you've also got to have the, I've got a great support team. I mean, I've got a group of people who are helping me, financially be able to play, and, pursue my dream, which, I couldn't do without them. And then, I've got a trainer here in Kansas City that helps me out. And then I've got, various different, I've got my swing, guy I've worked with forever, Mark Nigro on my golf game, and Kevin Ward's somebody who's kind of helped me out, training here in Kansas City, and what to do, what not to do, kind of on the road, and you need that kind of stuff because I would say I've got an awesome team, and certainly could not do it without all of their help, and my family's help, and it's it's very hard. A lot of people say, well, I kind of just want to. They go about playing professional golf like, they just kind of want to say they did it. Well, that's kind of not the way I've looked at it. It's, playing pro golf, you're trying to make the PGA Tour, and it's very hard. You got to make a lot of sacrifices, but it's kind of always been my dream and always been something I've wanted to do. So it's been a fun, first 18 months of playing, professional golf, and hopefully 2019 I'll have some cool things in store.
You mentioned that you always were, as a young person, a long hitter, but that's sort of just morphed into the fact that you are acceptably long now. What are the strengths in your game, and what are the areas that you feel like have needed to come along the most?
So in college I was notoriously, just a really, really poor driver of the ball, very wild. Had good length, solid length. But it wasn't like a Gary Woodland or a Dustin Johnson bomber by any means. So I've gotten much more controlled off the tee, get the ball in play, certainly a lot more. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, if you can't drive the ball, then you just have no chance of playing professional golf. And my driving's gotten a lot better. It still can improve. If I go back and look at the weeks I played poorly, it's usually because I didn't drive it well. And wedging, chipping, putting has kind of always been my strength, and probably always will be. that's just kind of part of my golf game. But if my ball striking can continue to improve like it has over the past 2 years, really ever since kind of my junior year in college, then I shoot some really, really, really low rounds. So if I can just, be a little bit more consistent with my ball striking, great things are going to happen, because I feel like I've got a world-class short game and wedge game. It's just a matter of, being more consistent each day, each week with tee to green.
Sounds kind of funny, at least from my standpoint, but, you said that if you can't drive it, you can't play, and I do believe that's true, but I think you'd rather have the touch gene, as it were, for the wedges in that particular thing, because that's where you score.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. If you can't putt and you can't wedge it close, from 120 and in or whatever, you're gonna have a hard time, shooting the crazy low numbers that you need to shoot because ultimately, you make most of your golf or you make most of your money in professional golf in about 4 weeks. So you just need a hot, few weeks, and you can kind of ride on those. And it's certainly something that I don't take for granted, and certainly nice to kind of, know I always have the potential to go out there and shoot a, 9, 10 under round, 9 or 10 under par round, because that'll go a long way in any golf, but especially professional golf with how everything's set up.
You mentioned before that because of your dedication to golf, that maybe that was why you weren't so successful with the ladies in high school. When you're in college and you're a college golfer, is there any cool factor there?
I don't know. I had a couple of people, a couple of questions out there, like, hey, you must be like a pretty big man on campus, and I'm like, look, I was the same class as Andrew Wiggins and Selden, and who else was in that class? You might know, maybe
those guys,
Embiid. Maybe it's like, no, I did not feel like a big man on campus by any stretch of the imagination. But the crazy thing was golfers, who were by far the most, unathletic people in the athletic department. We go to the, equipment checkout each August when we get there, and they give us all this like Adidas swag, which is awesome, But it's like, then we kind of like wear it around, and we just like feel goofy. It's like, what are we doing wearing this like track stuff? Like, we are so far from, but But yeah, it was anytime you're a Division I athlete, I guess you think that's pretty cool. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're at a school like KU with with a a basketball program like KU, it's hard.